Hello learners, welcome to the video lesson 26, Ustad Bismillah Khan of secondary level English. Coming to the introduction, how many musical instruments are you familiar with? We all sometimes tap on cups, glasses, thali, or tap the table to create some music. In fact, we sometimes snap our fingers or tap our feet or clap our hands to create a certain beat. Music can be so engaging and motivating that it somewhere touches our finer emotions and moods too. Have you heard a shehnai being played somewhere, either recorded or live? What does it look like? Shehnai is a double reed conical oboe of North India. It is made of wood except for a flaring metal belt attached to the bottom of the instrument and measures about 12 to 20 inches in length. It has 6 to 8 keyless finger holes along its body. Shehnai is a classical musical instrument. It is a very difficult instrument to play. This instrument, as the musician, has to master a lot of fingering techniques to play the instrument well. You may have heard a shehnai being played at a marriage ceremony or at some somber religious function or on television. Ustad Bismillah Khan was an internationally renowned exponent of shehnai. In fact, he was one of the finest Indian classical musicians that India ever produced. He played shehnai for more than 8 decades and received national and international acclaim for his performances. This great man spread peace and love through music. Learners, coming to the objectives, after completing this lesson, you will be able to read and enjoy a biographical text, infer that hard work is key to success, recognize that music has no caste or boundaries, identify some Indian musical instruments, use affirmative and negative sentences in the simple past tense, use prepositions, use phrasal verbs, write a report for newspaper, write a biographical sketch, improve your communication through spelling and pronunciation practice, and enhance your vocabulary. Learners, what the lesson is about? The lesson is about the life and works of Ustad Bismillah Khan. He was the greatest shehnai player. He was born into a family of musicians. He was tutored by his uncle Ali Baksh. Bismillah Khan was a keen and devoted learner. He innovated and created new ragas. He raised the benchmark of music so high that the connoisseurs of music were left with no choice but to give it an honorable place in classical music. Ustad Bismillah Khan carried the legacy of shehnai to its highest pinnacle of glory, for which he was recognized and honored the world over. He had the rare distinction of playing the shehnai at the historical Red Fort on the eve of independence, and then each year after that too, till he lived. Learners, let us read the text to know more about him. Learners, read the text on your own. Let's come to the part number 1, 26.2. Let us understand the text over there. You may read from the lines. Ustad Bismillah Khan was undoubtedly, 2, a devotee of Saraswati, the Hindu goddess of wisdom and arts. Shehnai and Bismillah Khan are 2 words which are inseparable. If you were to ask anyone to say which word comes to their mind when they hear the name Bismillah Khan, everyone is sure to say shehnai. Ustad Bismillah Khan, in fact, immortalized this instrument with his deep-rooted passion and devotion to music through this simple yet complicated instrument. One can say he was wedded to it. The two cannot be separated. Perhaps it was because of this love that everyone thought it fit to bury the instrument along with his body after death. Ustad Bismillah Khan was an outstanding shehnai player, and for his contribution to Indian music, he received several awards. Bismillah Khan was born in a small village in Bihar. His father was a shehnai player. When he was 6, Bismillah Khan moved to Varanasi. He started learning to play the shehnai from his maternal uncle Ali Baksh. Ustad Bismillah was a talented student and a keen learner. They say hard work is the key to success. In this world, talent goes waste if it does not get an opportunity to shine or get any sort of recognition. And to get that kind of recognition, one has to work very hard. But for talent to shine, one has to work hard. More importantly, field of art, whatever it be it painting, music, dance, does not come overnight. It needs a full-time devotion and daily practice like an ardent devotee. Bismillah Khan worked like an ardent devotee. He worked very, very hard. Ustad did not leave any stone unturned. He practiced day and night till he attained perfection. He was inspired by the flowing waters of the river Ganga. In fact, it is said that the flowing waters gave his soul new awakening, and he composed some original music inspired from these waters. We Indians have to be very proud of such a rare talent that Ustad Bismillah Khan proved to be. He is like a rare gem, which is very difficult to find. For his exceptional devotion to music and contribution to this field, the Indian government gave him the rare honor of awarding the distinct award of Bharat Ratna in the year 2001. In fact, he had been decorated with all the top 4 highest civilian awards like the Padma Shri, Padma Bhushan and Padma Vibhushan. Bismillah Khan was born on March 21st, 1916 in Damrao, Bihar. He was the second son of Pagambar Khan and Mittan. Bismillah inherited a great tradition from his family. His family had a musical background, and his all ancestors were musicians in the court of the princely state of Bhojpur, now in Bihar. And therefore, it does not come as a surprise that he must have inherited a lot of music subconsciously through the family environment. There is a story behind how Bismillah got his name. When he was born, Bismillah Khan was named Kamruddin, which rhymed more with his elder brother's name, Shamsuddin. But it is said that when his grandfather, Rasul Baksh Khan, saw the baby, he muttered the word Bismillah. And from then onwards, the child came to be known as Bismillah Khan. His father was a musician in the court of Maharaj Keshav Prasad Singh of Damrao. When Bismillah Khan was 6 years old, he moved to Varanasi, earlier known as Banaras. His maternal uncle, Ali Baksh Vilayatu, lived in Varanasi. He was the official Shehnai player at the famous Vishwanath temple. Ali Baksh noticed that Bismillah was a keen music learner, so he decided to teach him this instrument. In this way, Bismillah Khan started learning to play the Shehnai from his uncle. All great artists understand the importance of daily practice. They know that if they do not devote time and practice, they will never grow and will not invent any new forms. Hence, Ali Baksh, besides playing Shehnai at the Vishwanath temple, also practiced music in one of the temple rooms at Balaji Ghat. Bismillah Khan followed his uncle and his routine every day. He would devote the whole day to both the temples and practice for hours together. He had no time to play or to go to school. It is said that there were days when he did not have time to even eat his regular meals. Bismillah Khan, like an obedient and sincere child, religiously practiced the Shehnai and attained perfection in a very short time. The flowing waters of the river Ganga inspired him to improvise and reinvent or invent ragas that were earlier considered to be beyond the range of Shehnai. He often played the Shehnai at the Vishwanath temple on the banks of river Ganga. He was also a devotee of Saraswati, the Hindu goddess of wisdom and arts. Learners, let's come to part number 2, and you may read from the lines, Ustad Bismillah Khan, to Salute from the Indian Army. For a long time, Shehnai was not a very well-known or popular instrument. Shehnai was recognized as a classical form of instrument only due to Ustad Bismillah Khan. Ustad Bismillah Khan had some other unique qualities too, besides the ones mentioned in the last section. In this section, we shall also see his love for his city and country, and also he became an ambassador for peace. Bismillah Khan tried to spread peace and brotherhood through his music. He firmly believed in Hindu-Muslim unity. In the year 1947, when India became independent, Ustad Bismillah Khan was invited to play the Shehnai at the Red Fort. This was a rare honor, and that too at an age of just 31. Not many people get claim to their fame at such an early age. By now, Bismillah Khan had become so famous that he was invited to perform not just in India, but also in many countries around the world. His love for music and his Shehnai was so profound that when he died in 2006, the Shehnai was also buried along with him. If at all Shehnai became a famous and popular musical instrument, the one and only person who can be given credit for it is Ustad Bismillah Khan. It was solely due to him that not only the man and his instrument, but also the country got widespread fame. It was due to him and his tireless efforts that Shehnai got its entry into the mainstream classical music of India. It was at a concert at the All India Music Conference in 1937 in Calcutta. He had played it so well and enchanted the great audience and the experts who appreciated the music so much that they took the decision to recognize this instrument into the fold of Indian classical family. Despite the fame that he had got, Bismillah Khan always remained very simple. Publicity or fame did not disturb his calm or personality. He lived brotherhood through his music. He often said, "Music has no caste." Bismillah Khan had the rare honor of playing the Shehnai on the eve of India's independence in the year 1947. He performed at the Red Fort in Delhi, and since that year, he has always played on 15th August, right after the Prime Minister's speech. Bismillah Khan played in many countries and has a huge fan following. He had performed in Afghanistan, USA, Canada, Bangladesh, Europe, Iran, Iraq, West Africa, Japan, and Hong Kong. He shared a special bond with his Shehnai and lovingly called it his Begum after the death of his wife. On 21st August 2006, Bismillah Khan breathed his last. He suffered from a cardiac arrest from which he could not be brought out. He was 90 then. In honor of this great musician, the government of India declared a one-day national mourning on his death. He was buried along with his Shehnai in Varanasi under a neem tree with a 21-gun salute from the Indian Army. Learners, let's come to the summary of the text. This lesson deals with the life history of one of India's famous Shehnai player, Ustad Bismillah Khan. He was born in Bihar on 21st March 1916. He died at the age of 90 due to a cardiac arrest. His childhood name was Kamruddin, but when his grandfather saw the baby, he muttered Bismillah. From then on, he became Bismillah Khan. At the age of 6, he came to Varanasi. He lived with his uncle Ali Baksh, who used to play the Shehnai daily at the Vishwanath temple. Later, he would practice at Balaji Ghat. Bismillah Khan was a keen and devoted learner. Seeing his extraordinary talent and keenness, his uncle agreed to tutor him. Bismillah mastered the art at an early age. He was so fond of the Ganges that he would draw his inspiration from its flowing waters and created new ragas and made a lot of innovations to the existing music. Shehnai was not a popular instrument for a very long time. At the age of 31, Ustad Bismillah Khan gave a recital at a concert in Calcutta where he enchanted his audiences so much that this instrument and music got instant recognition and came to be included in the family of classical music. Bismillah Khan's music enchanted the whole country and the world. He performed in many countries of the world, and everywhere that he went, he made a lot of fans. The American government offered permanent citizenship to him, but he declined the offer. So great was his love for India. He was decorated with all the highest civilian awards of the country, including the prestigious Bharat Ratna. He received the rare honor of being invited to perform on the eve of independence at the historical Red Fort of Delhi in 1947. Since then, he performed each year till he lived. Despite his fame and glory, he lived a simple life. The greatest example is the fact that he always traveled by rickshaw in Varanasi. He did not accumulate material possessions. His one and only passion was Shehnai. After the death of his wife, he would call the Shehnai his Begum, and after his death, the Shehnai, which got its singular fame and recognition in India, was buried along with him. This is because it was his soulmate. What the lesson teaches us, learners: pursue any learning with the passion of a devotee. Music has neither caste nor a language that belongs to one country. It has a universal appeal and belongs to mankind across all geographical boundaries. Music appeals to all alike and unites people. Hard work is the key to success. An artist should be totally devoted to his art and cannot avoid learning without a disciplined life of practicing every day. Fame and success should not get into one's head. If you work with sincerity and devotion, success and fame are bound to follow. Art and learning should always grow through original compositions and innovations. One has to forget about one's comforts when one is learning. Nature has a lot of things to teach us, provided we are sensitive to its silent teachings. Learners, there are some facts which you would like to know. Bharat Ratna, which means Jewel of India, is the highest civilian honor given for exceptional service towards the advancement of art, literature, science, and recognition of public service of the highest order. The award was established by the President of India, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, on January 2nd, 1954. The actual award is designed in the shape of a people leaf and carries the words Bharat Ratna inscribed in Devanagari script. The reverse side of the medal carries the state emblem and motto. The President of India presents the award in a special ceremony held at Rashtrapati Bhavan. Learners, do you know that the Shehnai is a double reed instrument of the wind category? It is one of the most ancient instruments played or used in India. The Shehnai is mainly an outdoor instrument, played particularly on occasions considered auspicious such as processions and weddings. This tube-like instrument gradually widens towards the lower end. It usually has 8 or 9 holes. The instrument is made of dark, close-grained black wood and has a metal bell fixed to the border end. The length of the instrument is 1.5 to 2 feet. The reed is fixed at the narrow blowing end. The reeds used in Shehnai are made of pala grass. Spare reeds and an ivory needle with which the reeds are adjusted are attached to the mouth of the piece. The Shehnai is believed to have originated in the Kashmir Valley. Its name is derived from Sheh, that means breath, and Nai, that is reed or flute. Reed is a kind of grass that grows in shallow water and has hollow, jointed stalk. Learners, let's come to the grammar portion of this lesson. Number 1, affirmative and negative statements in simple past tense. An affirmative statement states that something is true or valid. In an affirmative statement, the verb follows the subject. For example, the first example, Vikram plays. The verb plays follows the subject Vikram. Number 2, boys play. The verb play follows the subject boys. To make a negative statement, we normally use do not or does not with all verbs except be and where modals are used. When the verb is be or modals are being used, the not over there is used to make the sentence negative. Examples. Number 1, affirmative. You speak German. Negative of this statement, you do not speak German. Number 2, affirmative. She likes chocolates. Negative of this statement, she does not like chocolates. Number 3, affirmative. Aman is a singer. In this sentence, learners, the verb is. The verb is. And the negative of this statement is Aman is not a singer. Number 4, affirmative. I can drive. Negative of this statement, I cannot drive. Can is a modal. Learners, you need to know more about modals and see the lesson, The Parrot Who Would Not Talk. Do the exercise on your own. You have to change the sentences into their negative form. In the next exercise, you have to change the sentences into their affirmative form. Number 2, there is prepositions. Prepositions are usually put before nouns or pronouns. A preposition shows in what relation the person or thing stands in regard to something else. Some commonly used prepositions are for, in, into, at, on, of, by, to, of, with, over, from, through, above, behind, near, beside, under, below, beyond, between, among, till, until, since, before, after, during. The sentences given over here, which I'll tell you, are from the text you have just read. And listen to me carefully. You may read also. The words which are underlined are prepositions. Number 1, Bismillah Khan was born on March 21st, 1916 on. Number 2, Bismillah Khan's father was a Shehnai player in the court of Maharaja Keshav Prasad Singh of Dumrao. Number 3, at the age of 6, Bismillah Khan moved to Varanasi. At. Number 4, Ali Baksh took him under his tutelage. Under. Number 5, Bismillah Khan practiced for hours together. For. Now, learners, do the exercise by filling in the blanks with the correct prepositions given in the brackets. You have to do this exercise on your own. Next grammar topic is phrasal verbs. Phrasal verbs are very common in spoken and written English. To be able to speak and write well, you must understand them properly. Phrasal verbs consist of a verb and another word or phrase, usually a preposition. Although they consist of 2 or more words, they act as if they are one word. A phrasal verb often has a meaning which is different from the original verb. Examples. Number 1, I ran into my school friend at the party last night. Run plus into is equal to meeting. I ran into my school friend at the party last night. So run plus into is equal to meeting. That is meet. It means meet. Number 2, he ran away from home when he was 12 years old. Run plus away means leave home. Phrasal verbs can be separable. I will set a meeting up for you tomorrow. Or inseparable, I have to look after my ailing grandmother. Learners, do the next exercise on your own. You have to fill in the blanks with the correct word from the ones given in the brackets. In exercise 2, you have to identify and underline phrasal verbs. Next comes in this lesson is biographical sketch. Learners, gather information about yourself. If you are writing a biographical sketch of yourself, you may feel that you already know everything there is to say. However, you will need to write down everything you know about yourself before you can begin to make an informative sketch. Here is what to do. Make a list of all the jobs you have ever worked. Highlight the ones that are most important. Make a list of all your achievements, whether they are publications, projects that you have led, or promotions you have earned. Write down the things you are most proud of about your own life. Write down a few key personal details about yourself. Just stating where you live and where you live with. Just stating where you live and who you live with may be sufficient depending on the required word length. Read through old cover letters to see the different aspects of yourself that you have emphasized in the past. Gather information about the historical figure. Gathering information about a historical figure will be harder than finding information about yourself. But if you are writing about someone you care about, it should be a fun and educational process. Learners, here are some ways to get as much information about the historical figure as possible. Research the person on credible sources online. If the person is famous enough, he or she may even have a website. If you are in school and know a professor who is an expert on the historical figure, ask if your professor has time to sit down and answer a few questions about the person. Go to your local library to read a variety of biographies about the person. Search through a variety of reliable sources. Repeat. Search through a variety of reliable sources to get a more well-rounded view of a subject. If you learn specific information, make certain it can be confirmed from other sources. Choose one interesting experience that illustrates the main points that you want to make about that person's life. Gather details about that incident. Write a timeline of the person's life that will show that you know when and where the person was born, where he lived, and what he did throughout the course of his life, and where, when, and how he died. Make a list of that person's jobs, pursuits, and accomplishments. You show and you should know this person inside and out before you begin writing your sketch. Reflect on your own life. Once you have gathered enough information about yourself and have a strong sense of your life and achievements, it's time to take a step back to think about which of your achievements and characteristics you want to emphasize to a potential employer and which aspects are not as crucial to your goals. Here is what to do. Think of which of your characteristics you want to emphasize. If you want to show that you are an original thinker, highlight the unique projects or ideas that you came up with. If you want to demonstrate that you are great at working with others, emphasize your successful teamwork. Think of the aspects of your life that you do not need to include. A biographical sketch can be a page or shorter, or so you won't be able to include every single thing you have done, or you will run out of room. Cross out things you have done that may not be relevant to the job. Think of a perfect anecdote that shows the qualities you want to highlight. You can brainstorm a few anecdotes and choose the best one. Remember that the anecdote will only work in longer biographical sketches. Think of the achievements and work experience you want to emphasize. You won't be able to include everything, so pick the most relevant work experience and the most impressive achievements to use. Reflect on the life of the historical figure. Once you have done your research and have gathered enough information about the historical figure, you should sit back to think about what it means, to see if you notice any trends and to have a better sense of what you want to convey about the person. Ask yourself about how the historical figure has shaped by his time period and environment. Ask yourself how the historical figure impacted the lives of the people around him, the general public, and future generations. Figure out which of the figure's achievements, work, and life experience you may want to emphasize. Unlike a biographical sketch for work, you may not be interested in the person's work experience, but in her relationships, for example. Figure out which quality of the person you'd like to emphasize. Are you interested in the person's work ethics, sense of humor, or ambition? Whatever quality you want to focus on, make sure the facts you present support it. Find the perfect anecdote to demonstrate the qualities of the person you'd like the most to show. Start with an anecdote. If you have room for an anecdote, it should go in the beginning of your sketch so you can hook your readers and paint an instant portrait of the person you are writing about. Remember, learners, that you should always write in the third person, even if you are writing about yourself. The anecdote can be just one paragraph or even just a few sentences long. But it should convey a sense of the person's character and what makes him or her special. Clarify who the person is. If you are writing about yourself, that's easy. If you're writing a biographical sketch, it can be trickier. If you want to start with the person as a child, such as telling an anecdote about the childhood of Abraham Lincoln, you can surprise your reader by explaining whom you are talking about at the end of the anecdote. Convey a sense of the person's character. If you want to show how honest or trustworthy the person is, make sure to tell the perfect story to illustrate these qualities. Show what makes this person unique. Use specific details and engaging language to demonstrate what makes the person you are writing about different from everyone else. Provide relevant information in the body. Once you have hooked your reader, you need to provide the right concrete details to give a sense not only of the person's character but also of the arc of his life and his achievements and passions. Learners, there are some points to consider. Learners, be honest. Don't embellish for the sake of impressing your reader. Your goal should be to tell things as they really are. Be creative. Don't tell a story your readers have already heard before. Find a new way to provide the same information or a way to provide information your readers may not be used to hearing. If you are writing a biographical sketch of yourself, provide the relevant information about the positions you have held, the type of work you did, and the things you accomplished and hope to achieve. You can limit personal information in this sketch, since your employers will be focused on your work experience. If you're writing a sketch of a historical figure or some other person, explain where he was born and where he died, what his passions were, what he achieved, and how he shaped society. You can also mention any relevant personal information about the figure. Remember to describe all the things the person did in chronological order so your readers are oriented. Learners, finish strong. If you have hooked your readers and provided sufficient information about the person you are writing about, you should finish with clarity and confidence. You can wrap up your ideas in just a sentence or two. Here is how to do it. If you are writing a sketch about yourself, you can end with personal information. Simply state where you live, what you do, and whom you live with. If you are writing about historical figure, leave your readers to think about the impact that this person has had on society. Revise the work. Once you have written the biographical sketch, you need to revise it to make sure that it is the appropriate length, that it meets your objectives, and that it flows smoothly. Spending time on revising the sketch can help you convey your message and emphasize the right qualities of yourself or a historical figure. Here is what you can do. Read your work over twice. The first time, don't mark it up, but make mental notes of any places that sound funny. The second time, read it with a pen and mark any places that should be expanded or eliminated, or phrases that just don't sound right. Work to improve those places. Read your work aloud. This can help you see that it flows smoothly and that your readers will have a strong sense of the person you are writing about. Make sure the sketch meets your objectives. Remind yourself of the qualities or personal experience that you wanted to emphasize about the person you were writing about. Does the sketch focus on these qualities, or does it leave the reader with a different impression of the person? Make sure it meets the appropriate length. You may feel that every sentence is absolutely crucial, but your readers or potential employers won't be impressed if you try their patience by going over the word limit. Set this sketch aside for a few days. When you return to it, you will feel less attached to every word and will be able to see what works and what doesn't. Learners, edit the work. Once you feel that you have improved your biographical sketch and that it won't require any more major changes, it will be the time to improve the sketch on a sentence level. Editing will require you to pick the sketch apart sentence by sentence to improve your writing for clarity, precision, and conciseness. Learners, here is what to do. Trim down long and awkward sentences for a better flow. Replace boring words with more descriptive ones. Find a more interesting way to say good or nice. Delete anything that is not interesting or off topic. Address all grammatical and punctuation errors. Learners, try also to find or ask for an outside opinion. Once you feel confident about your revision and edits of your biographical sketch, you should seek an outside opinion before you share it with the world. If you want to try to publish your biographical sketch of a historical person, you should know it if it sounds as convincing as you think it does. If you want to take your personal biographical sketch to the job market, you should know if it makes you look like a promising candidate. Here are some people to ask for help. Ask a trusted friend who is a careful reader if the sketch is lively, informative, and has a smooth flow. Ask an expert in the field. If you're writing a biographical sketch, ask a historian or professor. And if you're writing a personal sketch, send it to a person who works in your field, but not a person who may consider you as an employee. Ask a person who has written many biographical sketches and knows what makes them work. Points to be kept in mind while writing a bio sketch. It should begin with a clear and engaging opening paragraph. Number 2, use facts from reliable sources. Number 3, write clearly with appropriate and proper use of grammar. Number 4, put in quotes wherever possible. Number 5, add surprising tidbits to make the sketch interesting. For example, why Ustad Bismillah Khan's name was changed. His favorite mode of transport was cycle rickshaw. Learners, let's come to the next section, writing a news report. Newspapers carry reports of all kinds of events, visits by heads of state, robberies, accidents, scams, matches, exhibitions. Have you ever wondered how newspaper reports are prepared? A newspaper report is an account of an important or interesting event. It usually answers questions like what happened, how did it happen, when did it happen, where did it take place, who all were involved, what was the impact of the event. How to write a good report, learners? Over here, a report can be divided into sections: the headline, a subheadline, opening paragraph, details followed by a conclusion or closing remark. Number 2, the headline in a newspaper report is very important. It grabs the interest of the readers and makes them want to read more. It summarizes in one phrase the central theme of the report. Headlines need not be complete sentences. The language of headlines does not appear grammatically correct. For example, definite and indefinite articles and conjunctions are often missed out. Punctuation marks are not used, and short forms are always used in order to save space and to say a lot in just a few words. Headlines are often written in the simple present tense. Number 3, if the article is big, then a short headline is followed by a sub-headline. Now, news reports. News reports comprise, number 1, headline, which catches your attention, sums up the story. Number 2, byline, writer's name, writer's speciality, for example, sports, food, crime, current events, etc. Number 3, placeline, where the story begins. Number 4, lead. The opening section gives most important information, should answer most of the 5 W's, that is what, who, why, when, and where. Number 5, body, supplies detail. Most important details come first. Simple, true statements. Number 6, quotation, what someone actually said. It adds accuracy, adds live at the scene feeling. Learners, let's come to the next section called Enhance Your Vocabulary. Learners, number 1, read, read, and read in order to enhance your vocabulary. The more you read, especially novels and literary works, but also magazines and newspapers, the more you'll be exposed to. As you read and uncover new words, use a combination of attempting to derive meaning from the context of sentences as well as from looking up the definition in a dictionary. Number 2, keep a dictionary and thesaurus handy. Use whatever versions you prefer in print, software, or online. When you uncover a new word, look it up in the dictionary to get both its pronunciation and its meaning, or many meanings. Next, go to thesaurus and find similar words and phrases and their opposites, and learn the nuances among the words. Number 3, use a journal. It is a good idea. Repeat. Number 3, use a journal. It's a good idea to keep a running list of the new words you discover so that you can refer back to the list and slowly build them into your everyday vocabulary. Plus, keeping a journal of all your new words can provide positive reinforcement for learning even more new words, especially when you see how many words you have already learned. Number 4, learn a word a day. Learners, using a word a day calendar or website or developing your own list of words to learn is a great technique many people use to learn new words. This approach may be too rigid for someone. So even if you do use this method, don't feel you must learn a new word every day. Number 5, go back to your roots. One of the most powerful tools for learning new words and for deciphering the meaning of other new words is studying Latin and Greek roots. Latin and Greek elements are a significant part of the English language and a great tool for learning new words. Repeat. Latin and Greek elements are a significant part of the English language and a great tool for learning new words. Number 6, play some games, word games, that challenge you and help you discover new meanings, and new words are a great and fun tool in your quest for expanding your vocabulary. Number 7, engage in conversations. Simply talking with other people, can help you discover new words. As with reading, once you hear a new word, remember to jot it down so that you can study it later and then slowly add the new word to your vocabulary. Final thoughts on improving and expanding your vocabulary. Learners, you hold the key to a better vocabulary. By using these tips, you should be well on the way to discovering and learning new words to expand your vocabulary and strengthen your use of the English language. Finally, remember that you must practice putting your new words into your writing and speaking or risk not retaining them into your brain. Use repetition exercises when you first learn a word and consider other learning techniques such as index cards, recording yourself, reciting your words, association games, etc. Here in the lesson, a few words and set of words need your attention. Example, number 1, undoubtedly. Undoubtedly means without doubt. Number 2, maestro. Maestro means a great musician, especially of classical music. Civilian. Civilian means relating to a person not belonging to the armed forces, army, navy, air force or police. Recipient. Recipient means one who receives or gets. Next, ancestors. Ancestors mean those from whom one's father or mother has descended or come. Uttered. Uttered means spoke. Attained. Attained means reached or accomplished. Tutelage. That means guidance. Religiously means with enthusiasm. Inspire. Inspire means to cause fine thoughts and feelings to grow in the mind. Improvise. Improvise means create and or perform without preparation. Raga means a series of 5 or more musical notes upon which a melody is made. Indian classical music is always set in a rag. Single-handedly. Single-handedly means without help from anyone else. Mainstream. Mainstream means belonging to current trend. Limelight. Limelight means focus of public attention. Accumulated. Accumulated means gathered or acquired material. Possessions. Possessions mean property or belongings. Era. Era means long and distinct period of history. To monopolize. To monopolize means to dominate or to be the only one to be doing something. Perished. Perished means got destroyed or finished. Fan following. Fan following means admirers. Breathed his last means died. So these were some important words and set of words to know. Learners, I hope by now you have understood the lesson well. As I tell you every time, each lesson of secondary level English needs your undivided attention, as it is not a story or doesn't have an issue raised. It has its inbuilt English language skills which are required on any learner's part to understand those fully before writing the exam. Also, do read your secondary level English book before sitting for your exam. Best of luck and thanks.